Hello and welcome to the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike and Laurent. It is Tuesday, March 15th, and in this episode, we have a whole hell of a lot. Cristiano Ronaldo. Does Cristiano Ronaldo things to Tottenham? Andriy Yarmolenko with one of the moments of the season. Jesse Marsch, an amazing comeback game for Leeds. But first, Laurent, anything happened today?
Oh, God. Right. It happened. It happened again. It happened at Crystal Palace has taken 4 points off of City, and we've dropped 6 points to Spurs. So that's London has 10 against City.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. City away, Crystal Palace, unable to break them down. They had chances. They did their City thing. As I have said many times on these games, if City doesn't score in the first 15 minutes, they're in trouble. And this game was that game. City actually, when I really break it down, were really, really, really good. And so were Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace defended well. They had many opportunities on the break. It was one of these games where I respected Palace. I knew about Palace, but I just had a feeling it kept going. Bernardo missed an open goal. Mahrez missed an open goal. Cancelo shot a nuclear bomb, no pun intended, as we go later through this time. A shot that if it had gone in, it would have been goal of the season. Bernardo missed a second one in the second half. Foden missed one. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong, but not in a bad way. It wasn't like a listless performance from City. It was a really good performance where expected goals, 3.5, 2.5 to 0.5, and you get a 0-0 draw. And this is what happens to City. Narrative dictates, we must mention, TM, they should have got a striker. What the striker brigade never discuss is, well, who's the guy who drops into midfield and help all the buildup that gets on people on the ball to create the striker problem? Oh, yeah, you didn't get count for that because City's whole process is that they have all these midfielders that have to take the role of striker. Phil Foden did yeoman's work doing that. The weird thing was, I never want to hear Pep Guardiola talk about fucking 5 substitutions ever again. I know that's Klopp's thing. He made no changes. 0. There was $152 million worth of players on the bench. Yeah. And Raheem Sterling couldn't come in. Gundogan couldn't come in. And they were kind of running out of gas at the end there. A little bit of frustration. Players pushing each other. Aymeric Laporte missed a fucking header that went off his shoulder that he was wide open. He just mistimed it. City should have won this game. They win this game 9 times out of 10. The heroic nature, the glad all over, the Crystal Palace, Crystal Nach going on at Selhurst Park. It was great. Gallagher did Gallagher things. He had an interview at the end of the game. He's like, frankly, I can't feel my legs. We run so hard. I'm like, you fucker. God damn.
Have we fallen out of love with
No, I love him. Kouyaté was great. I mean, they had a good performance, but City win this game 9 times out of 10. And, it's just one of these games. City drop points. They now have a 1-point lead, assuming all games being equal. April 10th gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I am now an Arsenal fan because Wednesday, Liverpool go to the Emirates in a please, if there was ever a fucking time, you soft, limp-wristed fucking Arsenal pieces of shit, get a result. Anything. Just don't get beat. Get the draw. Play dirty. Xhaka, don't play Xhaka because he will get sent off.
I bet a Xhaka yellow card on Sunday.
You always bet a Xhaka yellow card.
I'm going to bet a Xhaka yellow card again on Wednesday. That's a great
that is my take on the game. I was hurting. I was upset. But any City fan, City fans are a weird group. Because there's so much history of being, there's literally something called typical City. If there's an interesting way to lose games, we have it. If there's an interesting way to blow it, we blow it. If there's an interesting way to find ways to lose, we are that team. We were Spurs before Spurs, but we weren't even as good as Spurs. We had our own terminology. It was typical City, and we used to fuck things up. And the old fan base still has that, even though it's now 10 years and we're still hanging on. Now, I don't know how I came to be a City fan, but personality-wise, I fit right in with the worst thing is going to happen. And I just kind of felt it. I was just like, oh, fuck. This is that game. This is that game. Crystal Palace somehow seemed to be one of our bugaboo teams. There's the
historically.
Andros Townsend wonder cunt goals. He's done 2 of them. Now nowhere to be found now, thank God. I never want to see him again. So he's lost in space, and I don't want to see his muffin on his head that he wears with his weird afro. But yeah, City we're good. I mean, there are a lot of good things to take from it. I thought like John Stones is so good. I mean, you forget when he doesn't play all the time how good he is on the ball, and you're just like, oh, all these other teams stink. Like when you watch City and you watch other teams, you just go, oh, John Stones would like. If Spurs had John Stones, you'd be like, he's the greatest defender I've ever seen. Or like, you watch Arsenal, you're like, oh man, Ben White's good. Then you go John Stones, you're like, fucking John Stones eats fucking Ben White's lunch. He's incredible. He's silky with the ball. He Cruyff turns out of trouble. He passes across the lines. I mean, he and Laporte, they're so good on the ball. They're so classy. It's like, City's dream. They're all midfielders, except some of them are taller. So
the thing that scared you was effectively has been rendered irrelevant for now with losing Ruben Diaz for a while.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I think, I do recall it's so tough to remember how good City can be, how good players that City have are when they aren't looking over their shoulder and they're one mistake from not playing. So you get a guy 2-3 games in a row and you go, he's fucking gold. Because he and Laporte they were snuffing everything out. And Alisi, my guy Alisi, Gallagher, there were tons of breaks with Zaha where he and Laporte just stood up and just like times when you were like, oh, that's when someone dives in and it gets a penalty. But they both stood their ground and really shut down all those breaks. There were a lot of breaks by Palace. They did a lot of good stuff, but didn't get it done. And City sort of sit where they are. And I am going to go through the scores because that's what we do. Saturday. Wait.
Yeah, we had Saturday games.
Hold on. Rewind. Mike, say something interesting.
Yeah, so we had a lot, right? So, I mean, we're going to go through all of them, but I actually had a hungover epiphany on Sunday morning. And I said, I was actually perusing the Twitters, and I saw somebody say, Chelsea's going to win today. And I went, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And he goes, Leeds. Leeds is a good bet. And I went, Leeds is a good bet. They're playing Norwich. And I went to my book and I saw Chelsea and I saw Leeds and I went, okay. And then I saw Wolves were plus 250 against Everton. And I went, huh?
Oh, yes, I'll have some of that.
I'll take that, please. So I parlayed the 3 of them.
Oh, baby.
And I don't know why I did that. I just didn't think. And I just went, okay.
All right.
And then I also did Chelsea and Leeds. And now we'll go to the scores and we'll come back to that story.
All right. So I think I missed the Thursday scores, but if we missed them midweek, Newcastle kept their run going against Southampton 2-1. They're cruising. Chelsea with Abramovich sanctions coming out of their ass. We don't know how many games they have left. Apparently, Tuchel's going to drive them to France to play Lille, but they win 3-1 versus Norwich. But then we go into match week 29. It starts on Saturday when my friends from Brighton, who are now on a 5-game losing streak, lose to Liverpool. They try to kill Diaz, the new Luis Diaz, but
I did see that.
Yeah, but Brighton lose 2-0 but Brighton lose 2-0 to Liverpool. Liverpool were good but not amazing. Salah with his 20th goal. His contract status is up in the air. Brentford off the schneid, on the schneid. They are gold. They're up 2. Burnley drop down. It looks like Brentford's going to be safe now. That was a huge one. We called it out. Your beloved Tottenham Hotspur get Ronaldo 3-2. United were not good. I thought Spurs were really good.
United were actively bad. We'll talk a lot more about this one, but
Ronaldo did Ronaldo things. Chelsea then defeat Newcastle 1-0 in a controversial game. They don't get the calls. Havertz with a crazy fucking goal. Really nice. Should have been sent off for an elbow. VAR, what are you doing? And then Chalobah literally drags down Jacob Murphy. No call. No problem. I'll go to Everton Wolves. Everton are terrible. They don't score a goal. Frank Lampard, hey, maybe he's not a good manager, seeing as Tuchel took that team, got them 3 draws in a row, then took off and won the Champions League. That was weird. Leeds, at the last minute, oh baby, Leeds get a 2-1 victory.
Oh, that's
that
the good stuff.
Was emotional and beautiful. West Ham win 2-1 in another emotional and beautiful game. Watford, old man Roy, getting his team off the schneid. They win with 2. Cuco Hernandez is a fun player. He scores goals. And then we go into Sunday. We're into Sunday. Arsenal 2, Leicester fall apart. Hey, you know what, Mike? Leicester gave up a goal on what?
On a corner.
That's now 15 on the season. That's one every other game. That's insane. That's
really
so bad.
rough.
And then we just talked about it. Palace do what they do to City again. And we have games 2 games on Wednesday. You play Brighton.
No, you know what? We'll win, though. And we'll get into why when we talk about United
and Arsenal play Liverpool, what I was just talking about. So those are the scores. And let's go to Old Trafford.
Do we have to?
We do have to.
All right, fine. I'm looking up a tweet that I saw earlier about Tottenham's last 15 games.
Are they win loss, win loss, win loss, win loss?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Tottenham's last 15 results: win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. That's unbelievable. We're going to kick the shit out of Brighton because of that. But wow,
yeah, but
this
one of
game
those
was
wins against my team.
This game was a lot because it was good. It was a super enjoyable game, and it was a frenetic first half that so many times I was watching with my friend who's a United fan. So many times we both said this at half, like the second half is going to be a fart noise, right? Like it just peters out and the game calms down. But this one was end to end for basically the first kick of the ball to the last. And so obviously it's the Ronaldo show. But I think that there were moments where you're like, you can't let him do that, right? Like the first goal so first of all, he gets mad that he doesn't get a handball in the box, and he just literally goes into berserker mode and scores one from 25, 30 yards. Now, if you watch that play, Fred has this cheeky little flick that,
and then he makes the run
field.
That opens up the space, which is really good.
And so Dyer is caught in no man's land on that point. The obvious
he doesn't move that well up and down sometimes.
Right.
I feel like,
but he knows what he is. He knows what he's not. But so he goes, if I charged at Ronaldo, guess who's getting walked right around?
Yeah, I know.
Right. So he's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And he goes, I'm gonna try and block this shot, but make a perfect shot. Guess what? So 1-0 to United. But Spurs fight back, right? And I thought that we had significantly better of the game, and I'm trying. I
would agree. I mean, it's not too crazy. It's the stats are close.
The stats are close, but I still, having watched it, I'm like, okay, it's kind of back and forth. We end up getting the penalty. That's what it was to make it 1-1. And there were chances before that, though. We had a goal called off for offside, which rightfully so, of course. But so Kane puts it home from the penalty spot, unstoppable, never going to miss. Fine. The second goal for United stayed with me because it's Ronaldo coming across Sancho, who, by the way, was great. Sancho made a couple of mistakes in this game, but I think the important thing is that
he's getting good.
He was feeling it to the point where he's like, I'm going to fuck it up. I'm going to lose the ball sometimes, but I'm going to do shit like this. And he walks all the way around. He's all the way down the left side. He plays it into Ronaldo for a tap in, but that is so offside, except for Sergio Reguilon's back foot on the other side of the field.
I know it looked so offside.
Well, because Dyer stepped up, and when I saw him step up but this is before they have the lines on the field, I'm like, all right, he giveth and he taketh away. We're all right. And then they do the lines, and I see Reguilon's foot like 40 yards from the ball, which, by the way, is such a bastardization of the spirit of the rule.
I know.
You gotta laugh, right? Sometimes it fucks you, sometimes it doesn't. But Christ,
And then you get another on a Harry Maguire.
We get a slab head.
Right, but the shit housing by your man, who's your
Romero. I'm telling
Romero?
you,
He was there. I mean, he was there.
he
But
was
Harry
there.
Maguire had every right to get up and punch him in the face.
Oh yeah. So for the uninitiated who didn't see the goal, it goes off of Slabhead's stupid face and into the net. 2-2 to Spurs, 72nd minute. We were in the ascendancy. This game, you score that goal and you're like, we're going to go win this fucking game now. And as Romero's genuine first reaction is one of my favorite moments of the year for Spurs. It's been a tough year. And he just bends over in
And yells in his
Maguire's face and laughs in his face, you fucking idiot, or whatever he says,
It
and
doesn't
runs
matter.
off to celebrate with his team.
Puto, probably.
Yeah, it was. It definitely was.
But then
he
Ronaldo,
was then victimized. Well, he wasn't, but like again, a goal off of a corner, but like, hey,
they
guys,
marked him
with fucking Matt Doherty. Like,
Yeah, well.
hey, number 7, keep an eye on number 7. I get we're doing zonal marking. I understand that it works sometimes. Hey, just don't let number 7 beat you, right? Like, I feel like that should be a good
But it's a
rule.
good header, man.
Oh, yeah. No,
It
absolutely.
just is.
But it also was Matt Doherty he beat on the fucking, like, what are we doing here, guys?
And for United, as much as we talk about them, it makes a huge difference when they have Varane in there. Holy shit. It's just like, they're just adding a level of quality that they don't have on a normal basis.
Another thing that I noticed straight away from kickoff was that Paul Pogba is a bit famous for his hairdos and
it's gone.
For his flamboyant appearance, shall we say?
He went with
he went scorched earth. He shaved his head.
He looked scary.
And so he will, from hereby, be known as on the Squeaky Bum Time podcast as Paul Penis, because that is exactly what he looks like. I think there's a Highlander reference for Man United. There can only be one. They can only have one Portuguese guy playing at a time. The Ronaldo goals were Bruno's goals, especially the first one. Ronaldo was going into spots where Bruno normally is. Sure. Yep.
And
the first one definitely.
And I think that
Bruno doesn't make that shot though.
Oh yes, he does. He can make that shot. I mean, he hasn't been, but you know what I mean. I think the issue for United is when your team is selected based on the strengths and weaknesses of the players in the side, not that you have to play them, the team is much better. Right? Letting Pogba roam free and having Matic and Fred do the running and having Rashford, even though he was bad, having Rashford and Sancho running off Ronaldo, and you can have guys roaming free and doing things and pressing, but you have to have a balance. And United just looked so much more balanced without having Ronaldo and Fernandes. So it's a tough call, but they weren't good.
Well, look,
on another day, Spurs wins that game.
Oh yeah, without question.
I mean, Sonny missed some good chances.
He's been, I thought that it was interesting. Right before the first goal that Ronaldo scored, there was an opportunity for Kane, who ended up taking one more touch and then tried to play it into somebody on the right wing.
He should have shot.
He shoots and scores on that every time I've seen him in that area. And so that was the weird difference early on. I was like, my superstar didn't take his shot and yours did. Yeah. The probability of which, if you would have told me when they both had the ball on their foot, it's like Kane's scoring and Ronaldo's not, right?
Yeah, I mean, this was the thing to keep in mind is like, this was a really good game for Ronaldo. Like 8 shots, 5 on target. Like this is vintage. Oh, there's the best player of all time is on my team now.
Sure.
Right. But let's move to.
Well, hold on, but the thing is that he did a lot of the things we've lauded Kane for doing over the last 2 to 3 years, especially as you mentioned with those guys running off of him. It was Lucas and it was Son, and he was dropping back, which allowed him. He's 37 years old. He's not going to burn for 90 minutes like that. Okay. So what he's doing is and the other thing is he knows you're watching him at all times, except for when during the game winning fucking goal. But so he's getting into areas and spaces where he could get the ball and move or shoot like if he wanted from 30 yards out. So, I thought that the 1-2 play with Sancho, as I mentioned, was unbelievable. Rashford, not his best effort, but I mean, like sometimes that happens in that setup. Sometimes you become so one-sided that the other winger is like, he's more or less just there for show. But they get the points. Tremendously important game for their top 4 race. Their top four charge, I should say. Spurs are in the dust. It's hard to really say where they go from here.
Who the fuck knows with Spurs? If they win 3 in a row, God,
Sure,
that they
they're
have,
not
but they
gone.
could.
But like this is you can lose this game, right? I've said this on the show a lot. You can lose this game. You can lose to City, who they are fucking impervious against. But
yeah,
you
but
can't.
this was not a bad loss.
No, that's what I'm saying. This one stings because you basically got beaten by a one-man band, but you can get past it if you beat Burnley and Southampton and get a result versus Wolves at home and all these other points you're leaving on the board that now those are the points that you're missing between you and Arsenal and you and United. So if you get to the tax end of the season, right? The business end, I should say, of the season, and you are in these races, those are the points that you go, what the fuck? What did we even do there? Because now you've got games against Brighton, against Arsenal. You can have a direct impact.
It's those Burnley games.
It's the Burnley games. It's stuff like that. So, I mean,
speaking of teams,
I got over this one pretty quickly, but it's like I said, it's the other games that end up killing you.
Yeah. And speaking of teams that handle these kind of games, Arsenal have not been dropping points against shit teams for a while, and they take care of Leicester at home, and they've got something going. They are brewing. They are cooking. They're playing for fun. They are doing their thing, and it's been consistency. Now it's week on week on week on week with Arsenal, where they really beat the shit out of Leicester pretty good. Put 20 shots on goal on the regular with 6 on target. It's really, no Vardy, no party for the great and powerful Leicester, who are now weirdly playing for the Europa Conference League that Brendan Rodgers said he didn't know what it was. Now he does, because that's his season.
They're so unraveled all over the field. Harvey Barnes, I watched this game. Harvey Barnes was the only semblance of offense for the club the entire day. It was like watching an old dog die. It was horrible.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Their defensive problems are just so prevalent. And I remember when Soyuncu first came, and I thought that, holy shit, that's the guy United needed. Now that's the guy nobody needs. Soyuncu's awful. He seems to get worse, and he's been the one who's been there the whole time. Yeah. He's still the right age. He's still a good age, only 25. He runs like a deer, but he seems to need Johnny Evans. Who knew Johnny Evans was going to be the most important player who was basically holding this team together? It's bizarre. But, their fullbacks never really came back. Pereira's a shell of himself. They just don't have what they need. And, they're in mid-table now. They're just like, we're fine. We're safe. We're not going anywhere. We're not going to finish in the top 4. We're in that group of teams that's good on a day, but then can lose to anybody or beat anyone. But with Arsenal, they're just playing sharp. And if I could give more love to Odegaard, I would. Weirdly, the Xhaka party is actually working now. Party and Xhaka seem to be getting together, not making mistakes.
So I was going to say, Party was unbelievable on Sunday.
Really good.
He was all over the place. Good. He had the first goal on a header. He should have had a second one, which ended up being a penalty late in the game.
Yeah.
Xhaka, like we said, well, let's wait until Wednesday's over before let's maybe hang on to that.
And then, they're just good. It's weird.
Saka was electric. He was really, really good.
It's weird. Like they don't have to play Smith Rowe. I mean, they have this rotating Martinelli Smith Rowe thing, and then they've got the veteran Lacazette, who's just sacrifices. He does everything they need. He drops into the midfield. He sprays balls out wide. He's just good. Like he's one of these strikers in these modern offenses. He's in the Firmino role. He's in the City striker drop in role. These strikers that don't score goals, but you can see, you're like, oh, they make the team run because you've got these wingers that are super fast, super dynamic, but they don't have the skill to play at the 9 the way these teams want to play the 9, and they just bring people in all the time. Saka's just played in. Martinelli just played in all the time. They're just starting trouble. And while Arsenal have 4 games in hand, or 3 of those games in hand are Liverpool on Wednesday, Chelsea. Spurs, and Chelsea. Yeah. So those are not gimmies. and we're going to learn more about Arsenal on Wednesday. This is going to be. I don't expect them to win, but I don't expect them to get blown out either.
No,
I think
could
that
see
the
a
days
1-1
of
draw.
them. The days of them getting the doors blown off them are probably behind them.
For now.
I would expect. But it could be tight. Like they should have beat City in that 1-0 in January. They have the last really bad blowout they had was it's been a while. They haven't really gotten beaten badly for a while. Well, they have an Everton loss on the books.
What I would say though is, and we talk about
giving
it a lot.
up goals.
But we talk about it a lot on the show. They have guys who have the Englishness, who will play for the shirt, they're getting up for this game. They want to go and not just spoil Liverpool's title charge
themselves,
but they want to announce themselves for next season and in the Champions League races. So there is a lot more than pride on the line here for Arsenal. But I think if it were only pride, it would still be a competitive game based on that. So
I like this game. I do wonder if they're ready to do this. I think if Arteta is smart, he will not play Xhaka in this game.
I agree. I just thought of something. Is this the classic? Oh, here come the Arsenal. Oh, wait, no, Liverpool beat them 4-0. Right? Like, is that
it could be that. It could be that. I do worry for that. But that's what I'm saying. I think that's one of those narratives where I
they've
wonder.
Got believers out of us.
This
though.
is
out
this
of
is
me.
the moment. Well, this is the moment. These are the moments. I don't know.
This is the final
a test.
boss.
This is one of those moments where can they have a good performance? I mean, they did have a really good performance against City where they should have won. And the Emirates is loud. It's got some juice.
It can be.
You can admit it or not, this is a likable group.
It is.
Teams
it
that
bothers
come up.
me.
Yeah,
it bothers me.
Really likable. You really like Ramsdale shouting and being afraid to watch the team take penalties and shout at his end. You really like Saka and Smith Rowe and the high socks and
Martinelli.
And all that, all the weirdness, and Odegaard, like this weird Norwegian kind of smooth operator who has flicks and tricks, not because he's flashy, but just because that's how it's done, dude.
I'll say this, and it's a great segue. He reminds me a hell of a lot. He's more flashy, maybe not as functional. Reminds me a lot of early Christian Eriksen.
He has that quality, yes.
Right.
And they're both of Viking descent.
Exactly.
Not the same Vikings, different, but Norwegian versus
they were
Denmark.
all fucking each other at some point. Okay.
Yeah, and you want to segue into
let's go into Brentford Burnley because I saw a side by side of Brentford's first goal compared to a goal that Spurs scored in the 2019 season, and it was the exact same spot with the exact same part of Christian Eriksen's foot onto Ivan Toney's head. And 3 years ago, it was onto Harry Kane's head. So
listen, if he stays there and they stay up, there's no reason next season Ivan Toney couldn't be booked for 25 goals.
Absolutely.
It could happen.
Well, you mean if Eriksen stays there?
If Eriksen stays,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because they'll run for him all day.
Yep. And he won't have to, which is good because his heart will explode.
But that was a huge win for them. And Burnley, that was just, I don't. Well, we've been saying in Dyche we trust, but come on.
Well, hold on. Let's dial it back to before the game starts, right? So Burnley has a couple games in hand. They're on 21 points in 19th place. They actually were in 18th place before the Watford win, I believe. And Brentford's on 27. They're not safe going into this game at all. This was realistically, out of 9 games left, they probably need 5 points.
Yeah, it's 35-36. You're totally.
That's what I'm saying.
Good.
But so they go into that game going, we need 8 or 9 points, and they got a third of them right there. Right.
Remember, we said it's going to take 8 wins, and they have 8.
And like everything else we've talked about in this race, how many times has it turned on a team winning 2 in a row? There you are, Brentford. So you're doing okay. Thankfully, it makes me happy. I think if anybody's listened to the show for more than a few episodes, you know that our love for Brentford runs deep. So
it left for a while, but then it came back.
I was just sad.
Yeah, staying in the bottom, we have Leeds, who also get off the schneid and get their wins in a row. This was huge. huge.
Ooh.
They had played well against Leicester City and should have won. Then got beat pretty badly against your mob. Is that right? 4-0.
Yeah, oh yeah, they got smoked. And that
But
was the
in
game
this,
that killed Bielsa.
yeah, and then this game, they are winning. They're doing fine. They, of course, give up the obligatory goal. It is Leeds, after all. Pascal Schrock. Terrible.
Well, all right, so let's live this game through vicariously through my eyes. So again, I
you've
mentioned
got
that
money on the line.
I had mentioned the parlay, and it was a hefty little chunk of change. It was $800 to win. I didn't put that much on it. I don't have a problem. I put $100 on it to win 800 or 200 to win it. It doesn't matter. So
they get
again,
a goal early. They're up a goal early.
Chelsea. I have Chelsea, Wolves, and Leeds all money line. Leeds is up early. Wolves are up early, and then they have the red card. So it got a little cagier than I thought at Everton Wolves, but I never really paid attention to that. But Chelsea, I had the same feeling that you had watching Man City, and I'm like, it's just that game. It's blah, blah, blah. Like, they're not going to get it. They're not going to get it. So in the span of, let's say, 5 minutes, Chelsea score in the 89th minute. They go up 1-0. Leeds is still up 1-0. I'm in the money right now.
Yes.
Norwich. Timu Pukki, you son of a bitch, in the 91st.
First, yes.
Wow. Oh, boy. I sat there, and luckily, the thing that I do when I catch a bad beat or a loss is I just go catatonic, and I internalize it, which means the show is probably not going to make it through, like, another 10 or so episodes because I'm going to also have a Christian Eriksen and die. So 91st minute, Kenny McLean from Pukki ties it, and we're on to 4+ minutes of stoppage time.
Now, at the restart, Jesse Marsch brings on Joe Gelhardt. Top scorer in the Premier League 2 last season with 11 goals. The Leeds fans love him. He's like 12 years old. He is their future striker. Where has he been all year? Why don't you just play him? But he comes off the bench, and it happens. He wins a header.
He pushes, he pushes Rafinha out almost through to the right. Rafinha dances around the keeper.
It's a really nice move. It's juicy.
It was sexy. And then he salts it right back over to Gelhardt, who taps it in. And there was a pants optional party in my living room. Holy shit.
It was just like Ellen Road.
It was just like, I'm telling you, it was awesome. And I'm going to repay Leeds for this. Okay. On Friday. And if anybody is in the New York City area, you're more than welcome to join. I will be at the Leeds bar watching the Leeds. I think they're playing Wolves match.
Oh, nice.
Friday, 4 p.m. It's one of those weird Eastern daylight savings time, but not really in England things. So you got the late start. And I am going to be in that number. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You're just going to Leeds? You're just going to the Leeds bar.
Because I have a couple of hours to kill before I go to see my brother. So I was like, fuck it. Like,
all right. So Leeds it is. You're going to love it. They're probably going to love you. You're going to kiss everybody. It's going to be great.
It's
Norwich, we know they're just done. Like, the less we talk about them, the better. However, they still have games. If they win 2 in a row, they go from 17 to 20.
If they win 2 in a row, they're almost not in trouble.
Right. Speaking of the other friends down in the hell that is the relegation fight, Southampton lose to Watford. Just Watford, you bastards. Roy Hodgson, you motherfucker. They do win the XG battle. Chucho Hernandez scores 2 goals, one in the 14, one in the 34th. He's been scoring some quality goals. I have watched some Southampton stuff. A lot of dominance from Southampton and then somehow giving up goals. They have this in them. They're a weird team. They're still well coached. They're just not as good as you want them to be. Ward-Prowse, a missed header by them that could have brought this game level. But Watford get off the schneid. They're now ahead of Burnley, but they're on 29. Who else did we have? There was someone else. Everton.
We touched on Everton. And that's the thing.
God.
Okay, I've been playing this game the whole year. They have 3 games in hand. This couldn't possibly happen to them, right?
Yeah, but now they lose another player with a red card. He's going to miss a couple games. They don't have enough.
At this point, it's good.
Yeah, they're really bad. They're just not even creating anything now.
No.
Wolverhampton, the Wolves are tough. Like, that's not a joke.
Oh no, I did not think that it would be this close.
Yeah, it was, but at home, Everton needed those games at home. I think there was a belief that, sure, Frank Lampard wants you to press and attack, but doesn't really show the details of it. You thought that Everton would just play frenetic and score goals accidentally and win games just because they're better. But I think they've now got like the rot creeping in where they're playing with fear. They're playing with no confidence. I know that there's numbers and metrics and all these things that happen within all sports. But if there's one game that lives on emotion and time, and there's no timeouts, and the players are on the field, and it is the name of our show, so drink, get ready. It is squeaky bum time for Everton. They're not handling things well. They just, like, what happened to Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Is he dead?
Did they?
Did he stop? Does he not play anymore?
Did they make him
is
an
he
unperson?
is he broken?
So in the Tottenham game,
Richarlison keeps trying to score goals.
I forget in the Tottenham game. I don't think he started, but he certainly made an appearance, and he just looked completely disengaged. Didn't give a shit, right? And Richarlison is out there basically doing it by himself. To what extent that he can, he's not that good. He just runs hard, and he's Brazilian, so you think he's really good.
Well, he hit the bar.
No, right, but I'm saying he has the ability to win a game for you, but not often, not by himself, right?
Not enough. No, not enough.
I don't know.
Andros, how is Damari Gray not playing all the games? Why is Andros Townsend still on this team? Like, what the fuck is going on? They pull Dele Alli. Dele's giving them nothing. I mean, what is going on?
Doesn't surprise me.
No,
so there are 3 games. There are 4 games, excuse me, that they do have in hand are, Burnley, Leicester City, Watford, and Crystal Palace. So
they've got some bums. They can
right, but
they have an easy schedule. It should be okay until they get into this.
Yeah,
West
but what
Ham,
I'm saying
United,
is those
Palace,
are
Liverpool,
two of those that I mentioned, right? Watford and Burnley. Those are knife fights.
Yes.
Those are, if you don't win one of those games, you're going down.
Yeah, it's getting kind of heavy. They've got to
win.
Both
of those teams take points off of you, you're in deep shit, pal.
Yes. They've got to beat fucking Watford. They have to beat.
They have to win one of those games. And by have to win, I mean you can't draw both of them. That's not good enough.
Yeah, and they've got a Newcastle in a makeup game. Like they're not nailed down. They're not nailed down to beat Newcastle.
No, I would take Newcastle in that. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think by then Trippier will be back.
Yeah. So they're a mess. They hand over all the power to Rafa Benitez, who fires all this hierarchy and directors of football and scouting network, and he transfers out Digne, and then they fire him.
Yeah.
Like, that's just stupid. Like, what are you doing? Like, I think, and I mean this with the bottom of my heart, if they fucking rode with Benitez, they'd be fine. He would have found a way. Because he would have just been like,
in the situation that they're in right now. By fine, they would be in the Premier League next year, and he would be gone.
Yes, and fans would hate it. And this team is a mess. They've got Russian oligarch connectivity. They've got financial fair play shit going on. They're not fine. If they go to the championship and try and build that stadium, they could disappear. Like these things, I don't think people understand. I mean, our English fans, you guys know. But when you go down, it's not a guarantee that you bounce back up. You need infrastructure. You need a way to play. You need everything to be good. You need to be able to go, oh, okay, we're down here. We know how to get out, right?
Yeah.
Because it's 5 seasons. All of a sudden, Nottingham Forest, 2-time European champions. It's now 20 years in the championship.
Yeah. Brentford was 70 years between their top flight wins?
But they were kind of down. They never.
Oh, I know, but
they're not a big team. Leeds in the wilderness, 16 years. City had some tough moments. City were in the role of Crystal Palace. We were kind of like we're here. Hey, we go down sometimes, but not all the time. We had some trophies in our history, but they won a playoff. The most famous game before the Aguero goal was a League One championship, 2 goals down in extra time to bring to penalties against Gillingham and Tony Pulis in 1999. I've watched that game. It feels because I needed to feel it. What do we got left? We've covered a lot of stuff. Do you want to talk about Jesse Marsch a little?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm happy to see that. I mean, again, that's a big win over a plucky but sort of hapless Norwich team. But again, 3 points gets you from that conversation we were just in with Everton and Watford and Burnley
Out of it.
to out of it for now, right? Like,
For
hey,
now.
keep
Yes,
moving.
it is very much for now. But the relegation fight is literally Everton. I mean, Leeds are on 26, Everton's on 22,
Yeah.
and then Watford's on 22, Burnley's on 21, Norwich on 17. It's really 3 from 4, and one of those 4 is Everton, which is insane.
It's wild. It's wild. If you would have told me, or not me, if you would have told Everton fans who were rejoicing and dancing in the streets when they got rid of Rafa Benitez, like you said, moments after selling Dina.
They also started the season 3-1, 3-0-1.
Yeah, yeah. But like, I want to hear like how that all went down. They're like, all right, cool. So like the ownership is like asking for a recap of the transfer window activity. Like, right, so okay. So did you bring anybody in? Yeah, we got Dele Alli. Oh, cool. They been the star from Tottenham. Yeah. Let's go with yeah.
Is he still good?
Yeah,
He's still good.
Okay, great.
What about Van der Beek?
Yeah, right. Donny Van de Beek. Oh, you mean the guy that Manchester United bought for like 50 million a couple years ago? That's the guy. We got him.
Does he play?
Well, did you spend a lot on him? No, we didn't.
No.
We didn't spend a lot of money. Oh, okay, cool. Well, all right. Then how did you
any defenders? Any midfield?
Yeah. How did you fund these moves? We
sold Luca Digne.
We sold Luca Digne. Well, sorry, what was that?
We sold our primary offensive creator.
We sold Luca Digne. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, no, he's not on the team anymore.
Yeah.
Why? I didn't like him. He was not very nice to me in training one time 4 months ago, and I never forgot that shit.
Yeah. You're fired.
Get the fuck out. Pack your shit right now. Get the fuck out.
Yeah, they just didn't get like guys who are up for the fight. And even Lampard, has he been in a relegation battle?
No. Never, right?
No. Has Dele? No. Van der Beek? No. They're not. None of these guys are up for it. And as long as Michael Keane is playing, they're not fucking winning games.
Oh, he's unwatchable. He's very watchable. I'll tell you when he's watchable.
When you're going against him. The other one who I love, and I dearly am sad to see him the way he is, my boy Seamus Kilman, who I've loved since his Leighton Baines days when he broke his leg. I just always liked him. He's now he's year 13, still the core of defense. It's like, my guy, you gotta go.
Didn't he have like an absolute thunderbolt at Anfield one time, like at the end of the game to beat Liverpool, or maybe to start a draw?
There's no way because they never beat Liverpool.
No. It was a draw.
Oh, okay. Well then, yes, I do recall that as a draw, maybe. But this would have been pre-Klopp.
Oh yeah, it was pre-Klopp.
Oh, okay.
He's been there since the fucking War of 1812.
Yes. He was there when the Irish Troubles were still going on.
I'm not going to.
He was part of the Accords.
I remember this.
We've got to talk the love and joy of football. The Yarmolenko goal.
Yes.
West Ham at home. So we know about the war in Ukraine. It's awful. It's terrible. Respect to the Ukrainians. They're really holding out. They're doing like Crystal Palace versus Manchester City, but just like 90 minutes. Let's try 20 days.
Yeah.
So they're
a smart man once said, it's tough to win on the road.
It is tough to win on the road. So they're doing well on the road. But Yarmolenko, who is born in Russia of Ukrainian parents, he's from St. Petersburg, a.k.a. Petrograd, a.k.a. something grad, Stalingrad. I don't know, something. They change the names all the time over there, depending on who killed who. So I think it's back to St. Petersburg. So he's Russian born to Ukrainian parents. The war begins. He's got to figure out what the fuck's going on with his family. He takes, I think, 7 or 8 day leave. It's affecting him. He's having a hard time. West Ham's been great to him. Very classy. West Ham, a community-based team. It's the East London. It would be like if the Lower East Side had a team and the Lower East Side was still the Bowery Boys. So freeze New York City in 1930, put a team on like Bowery and Canal Street, and that team is fucking West Ham.
Yeah. And then take their stadium away and make them go all the way to the Bronx.
Sort of. Or make them go to like the fucking Hudson Yards.
Yeah,
Maybe
right,
like,
right,
oh,
right. Yeah.
Fuck you, fucking Hudson Yards. Or it would be more like the East Side, be like where the UN is probably. Anyway, so Yarmolenko comes on. I don't know the circumstance of it, but the goal is fucking killer. It's one touch, boom, in the box. Someone fires it into him. He grabs it, hits it in, and he has a really cool celebration. He runs over, drops on his knees, puts his hands up. Then it's hands to the face. The whole stadium, Aston Villa fans, the whole stadium. So there's a way in. No one's booing. The teammates surround him, and he's just weeping. It's affected him. You can't not feel for that moment where you know that someone is at work and doing their thing. They're having a moment of emotion, of feeling, of worrying about his family, of worrying about, I bet you his house is split in half. His parents are probably old, be like, Putin's all right. And he's like, we're fucking Ukrainian, but we're in Russia. It's all fake. Aren't they all Nazis? No, they're not all fucking Nazis. Although Ukrainians, don't talk to them about Jews. But anyway, that's a different story at a different time. And then the African students trying to get across the border, that was weird too. But anyway, they're fighting, sometimes black and white. So he cries. It's a moment. Football lives on forever. It's a baddish loss for Aston Villa, who seemed to had a little blip. Then they right the ship. But this is not a good loss for the in the war of claret and blue. However,
well, hold on. I don't know. I don't know that I agree with that. West Ham have top 4 aspirations, and this goal, well, they ended winning 2-1, but that puts them back into the conversation, into the race. They're still the dark horse for the race, but let's be clear. What Champions League is to Arsenal, Europa League is to West Ham. And by the way, they finally did lose in Europa League in midweek.
Yeah, but they still have a shot against Sevilla.
No, of course. No,
I don't think they're done.
I think that's better than them, but
yeah, I think the thing with West Ham is they are a live fighter. They seem to have the structure to take punches. They seem to be running they're a marathon runner. They're going to take you to distance. They're going to give you the Jake LaMotta to Sugar Ray Robinson. You never knock me down, Jake. You never knock me down. And they will keep fighting, and they're going to keep on going, and they're still lingering. They're still waiting there. You fuck up, West Ham will fucking jump you.
They'll jump.
You show up weak, they will jump you.
Mm-hmm.
They're not getting goals from Antonio, but that doesn't matter. Maybe Yarmolenko can sort of summon something. As long as Rice and Souček are in the middle there, they are doing things, because the goal for Yarmolenko was set up by a run from deep from Rice. He just took off. He's 6 foot something. He's very upright. He's an odd runner, but he doesn't lose the ball, and he just had his head up the whole time. You're like, there he goes. Oh, there's Declan Rice running through the midfield, going from offense to defense, fires a pass into Yarmolenko, bing, boom, bash. The goal happens, and that was cool and a moment that football mattered again. The goal, I will say, for Villa is an important goal because it's from our friend and yours, Mr. Jacob Ramsey, the best young midfielder to come out of England in a long time, just 20 years old, already on 6 goals out of the midfield. They've got a good thing going there in Aston Villa. It helps when you get funded. I don't know what Gerrard does. I think he just walks in a room and says, I'm Steven Gerrard. Give me the fucking players I need. And you're just like, okay, I got it. Yeah, we go again. Okay, fine. Don't slip. But they got this. It is weird. They don't slip. I know. But it's
they're fine though.
Coutinho, Watkins, Ings. I mentioned this in the middle of the game against Palace, and we talked about this last week. But that group, that fucking dirty bunch of Villa, Southampton, Palace, Leicester, Brighton, Newcastle, that group, they're fucking troublesome. They'll fuck you up. They're good. They have good coaches. Where they are in the table, how their season has gone, any day of the week, you'll be like, fuck, Jacob Ramsey scored a fucking goal on us and they beat us up. Or Palace, you're like, what the fuck? Where the fuck is Zaha going? That fucker. And Elise throws in a cross. Or you play Leicester and it's like, Jamie Vardy fucking in with Madison. God damn those fuckers. They're all really tough.
And that
I think
brings
the
us to
middle is
Wednesday.
good. Yeah, the
That
middle
brings
is
us to
good in the
Wednesday.
Premier League.
So
Yeah.
you've got Spurs going to the Amex or whatever it's called now. Again, at your
It is
beloved
the
Brighton.
Amex. They've really. I don't think they realized how much Dan Burn meant to them. It's weird. I think there's a signal when you sell a player who's like, "Hey, that was that guy played center back. He played left back.
Yeah.
Now he's gone. Like, what are you guys doing?" But they bought him for 4, sold him for 15 for a team like Brighton. They do that every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, and so
They play your mob.
The logic says win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. This is going to be a win for Spurs, and they sure as hell need one. But the question I have
is a tough game, man. I see that as a draw.
Of course. The question I have is, does Lucas get in? Because he's obviously been a bright spot. He looked great off the bench the other day. Sonny was kind of absent. They took Kulusevski off for Lucas, down a goal late. I would not have done that. I would have taken Sonny off. I first guessed it at the time. Didn't have it on Twitter, so sorry. But you just kind of have to take my word for it. I thought that there are games where Sonny kind of disappears, and that's okay. But you've got to recognize when they are and just yank them for a guy who does.
I don't think it's against Brent. I don't think it's against Brighton because Brighton are a possession team. Brighton are a team that play on the front foot. Brighton are a team that push up with their fullbacks. It's the kind of game where in transition you need Sonny. And I think that if you don't play Sonny in that game, that's probably a bad idea.
I wouldn't even disagree with that. But what I'm saying is I think Lucas gives you a lot of the same. Now, I'm not saying he's as clinical as Sonny is, but I think that they're very similar players. So it makes you wonder, does Kulusevski give way? Should he? Absolutely not. He's been, for my money, he was the best player not named Ronaldo on the field on Sunday or Saturday, whenever the game was.
Then we've got the Liverpool Arsenal, which we've already talked about as like, good God, please, for all love of Jesus, may all the gods, the old and the new, find the spirit of Patrick Vieira, bless Thomas Partey to attack and destroy Liverpool and treat them like the scouse cunts that they are, because we need them to not win. A draw is fantastic.
I think a draw would be the most interesting outcome for the neutral, right? For the title race. Yeah. Because then you're still a full 3 points behind, or they're ahead of Liverpool, I should say.
Yeah. Watch Arsenal just get the doors blown off them.
I'm saying, anyway, man, it's possible. It's possible because
also possible.
Every fucking year. Now, I've never come. The difference is I've never come around on it. I've always been like, these fucking phonies. This is nonsense. You just wait.
Yeah,
I told you
see.
so.
We'll see.
I'm drinking. I had a red Gatorade for this show. That's how much I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
Then Thursday we'll probably be able to talk about the results here. But Everton, Newcastle. If there's a must win for Everton, it's that one. They got to win that game. What are you doing?
I mean, they're all must wins until they win one at this point. But yeah,
and then I believe it's an FA Cup week because there's weird makeup games. So Arsenal play on Wednesday and then Villa on Saturday. I think Arsenal are looking for 4 points from those two in any order.
Sorry, I'm looking up the FA Cup pictures. It is. And there's not really much to write home about. Middlesbrough versus Chelsea. They've taken down United and Spurs, so we'll see. Palace versus Everton. What if Everton get into the semifinal?
They should mail that game. They should mail that game in.
Oh, they should
or try and win it. Or like just do whatever. Who cares?
No, because you're not going to beat City or Liverpool or Chelsea in the next round. Like, just go now, dude.
No. You never give up a trophy if you don't have to.
You do if it's going to destroy your fucking club for 20 years.
For Palace, you go ball to leather.
Sure.
You're safe.
What I'm saying
get
is,
that game.
No, I'm saying for Everton, get out of there. Like, go figure out how to get 8 more points the rest of the season, you fucking frauds. Like, just stay in the division.
And then we've got Wolves League. So we've got games basically the rest of the week. And then I think there's Champions League on Tuesday. I think Atletico. So
we'll talk
we have
to you
games.
guys. No, we've talked to you guys a few times before that, but yes.
No, but there's games every day of the week.
This is the game today. This is the time of year, right? So the weird thing, and so for the old heads on the show, and we love you, you'll know that we've talked about how there's games thick and fast, pretty much fucking every week for the last 2 seasons, right? Like almost a year and a half, because of all the makeups and all that stuff and all that. This is, as I said earlier in the show, the business end of the season where you usually do. And most clubs, teams that don't usually have midweek games, have makeups, right? So there's usually some stuff going from now until May 15th.
Right, but we've got Man United Atletico tomorrow. That's 1-1
Oh, yeah.
on aggregate. We've got Ajax Benfica. That's 2-2 on aggregate.
Mm.
Juventus Villarreal. That's 1-1 on aggregate.
Oh,
and then we've
come
got
on, Villarreal.
Chelsea. We've got fucking Tuchel driving the bus to Chelsea because they barely have money enough to fly. So I don't know how that game's going to go. But Chelsea may not score, but they don't give it up too.
They don't have to. They don't have to have 2-0?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
So Tuesday's Champions League, Wednesday's Spurs, Brighton, and Arsenal, big games. Thursday's Everton's lifeline game, Wolves, Leeds. You'd expect Leeds to lose that game, but hey, you never know. And then Villa, Arsenal on Saturday, and then I believe that's it for Saturday, but I'm not sure. I'm looking right now. Friday,
and we've got Tottenham, West Ham on Sunday. Which I'm looking forward to. Hopefully, I'll be at the Spurs.
No. No match postponed. Yeah. All of it. All the rest is postponed. Do you have West Ham on Sunday?
Yep.
Oh, so you're playing during the weekend.
Yes.
And then Leicester, Brentford. So there's a bunch of games, and we'll go through that on Thursday. But we're running late on time. But we went through. This is like a weird 3/4 mark. We're in the home stretch kind of update episode where Mike and I are here. We took care of everything we needed to do. Mike, tell us what I need to do.
All right, let's get out of here.
Hey, that was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike Salerno and Laurent Cortine. We are the football wing of the Chop Sports Network, still, and Fan Hub, who we love. We record on Tuesdays and Fridays, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Please write reviews. We need them. And come on, City. Fuck Liverpool.